Brian.
Well, and I apologize for Facebook. We just went live right now on Facebook.
Wow, I thought it sounded like a helicopter landing.
That was something.
Wow.
It never fails. If I go out on the road, it never ever fails.
Yeah.
It's
came it up
perfect. Like they could have happened time over the 3:00 hour, right? Unbelievable stuff. All right, so last panel. We're
yeah. So last panel, honestly, so that was a panel I moderated, and it was just nothing but good news. And obviously,
now smell the exhaust.
I know it does smell like exhaust. That's hilarious. Oh man. Workforce. Yes. So sorry to your audience. We're just like being distracted all over here.
Live radio.
Live radio. So we had Secretary Showen share about the what her agency is doing with the one-door package that was passed last year, but also she had a huge workforce consolidation package that was passed. So we went through the wins of session, but also what her agency is looking next steps. We had President Richard Nelson of LCTC, which is another one. They dropped the S, so it's like LCTC. So did you know that?
He's so efficient.
I'm sure he has a reason.
That's the per system. Who cares?
Now it's colleges, Louisiana Community and Technical Colleges.
Oh, right, but it was the Louisiana Community Technical College system.
Right. So I think efficiency, I guess.
Richard.
So
I can't remember the S.
You should have him on the show.
We are 20% more efficient now.
Yeah.
By one whole letter.
Yep. I think that's what he would tell you. So we had Richard Nelson on, Representative Stephanie Brault, Representative Ken Brass, both of who have just been champions in this area in the workforce space. But Representative Brass, talk about somebody that has investment coming to his district.
Mm-hmm.
But he's hit the ground running. He has met every single challenge that has come with building the workforce in his district. And he had a couple bills in the higher education space this year, which is really going to do a lot to address the fact that 70% of the jobs coming to our state do not require a 4-year degree.
Right.
And so really funneling those kids into the community college system. And then one of our most interesting panelists, Brian, was Dr. Missy Hobson, who is the Chief Workforce Officer at Ochsner. They are doing incredible work with AI, with retention, and gaining new employees. They recently contributed, I think, about $500,000 to BRCC to transform their nursing program.
Okay.
So it's really going to create a pipeline from that program into the Ochsner system, which is incredible. And so that is, we talked a lot about the ecosystem of workforce. Obviously, our business community is critical, and they're stepping up. They're meeting the challenge head on. So very happy to have lobby member Ochsner on the panel as well.
Very, very cool stuff. And just to tee it up a little bit, Ken Brass may or may not be on the show coming up in less than half an hour.
Oh, fantastic. Yes. Oh, well, you tell him I teed him up. I gave him some kudos.
For sure. We are due up for a break. I appreciate you carving out a couple minutes this afternoon. I know there's a lot going on down the hallway, but we are going to take a break in just a second. So thank you so much for stopping by.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it.
So on air, we're going to take a break. In the meanwhile, Mary Beth and I are going to try to figure out why the car came from the back and not from the doors.
I didn't realize that.
Right? Came from the kitchen.
We have a mystery to solve.
All right. Well, call Scoob and the gang. We're on it. You are listening to our coverage of Legisgator 2026, which is, of course, presented by Continuum Strategies, the TJC Group, Louisiana Chemistry Association, and Caterus with Commonwealth LNG. We're back after this on Talk 107.3.
That was so funny.
Oh, my God.
I thought it was like a helicopter.
Is it raining?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe it'll cool off.
It's the first time in about 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Really? Yes, we are. Oh, yeah.
I love your blazer. Oh, that's super cute. Oh, thanks. That was fun. I like doing it in person.
Yes.
I might come do it in person. Yeah.
I always try to tell people that. It's just a better interaction.
It's so much better. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, Brian. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yep. See y'all later.
You're up?
I'm up.
What are we talking about?
Whatever you ask me, we're going to answer.
Okay.
Lake Area Industry Alliance.
Okay.
LAI.
That's some good stuff.
Jobs, money, taxes. Opportunity, yeah.
Sorry, I've been flying by the seat of my pants.
Oh,
today,
that's
and this
all
is
right.
The,
There's a lot of that going on.
well, oh. So yeah, we'll just talk about the area. You know, got a lot going on. So yeah, go ahead. Yep.
All right, 30 seconds.
Cool. Gonna be breathing that exhaust for some time. And we're always on Facebook Live. So can you scooch this way just a touch?
Sure.
Thanks. Hmm.
There you go.
All right, we're keeping it rolling here on Talk 107.3 FM as we're broadcasting live from Legisgator 2026, a Legisgator that's literally like no other. We are in Lake Charles, so let's check in with the Lake Charles Industry Alliance. We got Jim rocking with us. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing very well as well. So before we get into like what's going on in Lake Charles, which is everything, let's talk a little bit about this change in format for Legisgator because for those that are in Baton Rouge, might not quite understand, like they don't get it, like what is Legisgator to begin with, and why is there this level of importance and attention being paid to it this year?
Well, the new format this year is a result of the Chamber and Alliance and
Mhm.
Scott Walker, who decided we need to expand what we've been doing for 20 years or 30 years or whatever it's been.
Mm-hmm.
And so instead of just a luncheon and some little bit of visiting and networking, it's now like a 2.5-day event.
Right.
So we've got hospitality suites, we have breakout sessions during the course of the day, and you can decide if you want to learn about workforce development or energy or whatever the situation is. You can kind of tailor it to what your desires and interests is.
And to go along with that, though, this is kind of the pre game, the pre game for putting together policy for next year.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
You know, when you get this many people under the same roof and whatnot, it's, you know, as Louisianans do, we'll get to talking.
That's
when
right.
we get to talking, we have ideas to solve the world, you know, to save the world. So
That's right.
That's kind of where we're at for this installment of Legisgator. All right, we got a lot going on in Lake Charles right now. The
Yes.
LNG space has absolutely exploded. I want to talk
It
about
is.
that from metaphorically.
Okay.
I want to talk about that from just the perspective of like your view on the inside. Is this like, is it all at once? Is it doable? Like, are we up to the task to bring all of this in at the same time?
Oh, we've got no choice but to be up to task.
Right.
Because it's happening. You know, we've got 3 operating plants right now. Those 3 plants, all in Cameron Parish,
Mhm.
have the capability of exporting about 50 million tons a year.
Oh wow.
Okay, and that 50 million is about 47% of the total United States export capacity. So we're
Mhm.
almost half of it. We've got 3 projects going on right now with 3 different companies. And by the time they start up, they're going to more than double our existing capacity.
Wow.
So we got the advantage of being on the port. Of course, we got the deepwater port, 10th largest port in the United States.
Mhm.
So we can ship it out by water. We got all the pipelines bringing the gas in. We got great workforce development opportunity here with our ABC school, the Suella, McNeese, and we just opened up a couple of months ago the LNG Center of Excellence at McNeese, specifically for to train people to work in the LNG industry.
Okay. Very
So
very nice.
we're in the right place at the right time
Yeah, no, absolutely. So when you talk about that, you're talking about not just within the LNG space, but everything that supports it as well.
Absolutely.
So what are the secondary effects of this movement right here? The secondary effects of this groundswell with LNG just taking over.
Well, one of the good or bad, depending on what side of the fence you're on, problems is it's a lot of jobs being created.
Mhm.
So with these 3 plants that are coming up, they're going to add another 15 to 2,000 direct jobs, not
Right.
counting contractors and service providers. And so, and most of those plants are somewhat remote from I-10 and Lake Charles. So those guys wind up paying a lot of money with tremendous benefits. And so there's kind of been if you hear a sucking sound, it's the talent moving from the I-10 area down to Cameron,
Okay.
filling those jobs, which is good for them. But it's created a greater demand for workforce development. So that's why we're so invested between donations and thousands of man hours of volunteers with Suella, ABC, and McNeese.
Is this a growing trend, or is the investment we're seeing right now kind of where it's going to be? Meaning, we know demand's about to be on the rise.
Sure.
So, I mean, are we getting what we're going to get, or are we setting ourselves up for the future? Future growth. I mean,
it's hard to see where it's going to end.
Right.
But for instance, Venture Global with CP2 started at one particular capacity design.
Mhm.
They hadn't started yet, and they expanded to something bigger. Then they started building. Now they expanded it to something even bigger than that.
Crazy.
And the existing facilities, Cameron LNG, Cheniere, are looking at expansion opportunities as well.
Yeah, I know the folks from Caterus and Commonwealth hopped on board to help sponsor this show.
Sure.
Because they're seeing nothing but brightness in the future too.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah. And there's more and more demand for gas, as people get off of coal, off of wood,
Sure.
and with the population growth all over the world, everybody needs electricity and power for.
Well, and, yeah, I mean, not just population growth, but where our focus is, like everywhere. There's going to be a tie back into data center conversations because they all have to be powered as well.
Absolutely.
And I know there's going to be a push for a lot of smaller nuclear from here to there, but LNG is going to get more of its fair share until we're up to speed on everything else, and even beyond that, because it's LNG. It has been easy, convenient, and we do it well.
It's clean. We do it very well, and it's putting people to work. The nuclear stuff's going to come eventually, but it's coming very slowly.
Well, it's going to come eventually, but it's going to stay in its own lane.
Right.
It's never going to take over.
It's not going to replace the gas.
No, 100%. There's room for everybody in this game. Now I want to spend just a couple more minutes here with you. If we I know I promise to get you up by 4:30, but I got you, so you're staying. Lake Area Industry Alliance. Let's talk about the peripheral jobs that come from it. You talked about them direct jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Give the audience some examples of what it looks like when you're not in the LNG business, but you support or surround the LNG business.
Well, it's not the LNG business, of course, is fed by the natural gas pipelines.
Right.
Okay. But because we're right on I-10, because we're right on railroads, because we're right on the deep water ship channel, we've had industry that started during World War II here.
Sure.
And it's continued. Right now, 5 years ago, when I took over this job, we had 22 members of LAIA. Now we got 29.
Okay.
I got 2 or 3 more knocking on the door.
Mm-hmm.
So there's just some of the chemical plants, for instance, are looking at expansions right now.
Very, very cool stuff. And I mean, when you add 2,000 new jobs in one particular field, you're adding 2,000 new real estate agents or real estate deals that have to be done, and retirement accounts that have to be handled. And
sure.
Yeah, the repercussions are throughout.
Yeah, and I talked about the compensation. So all those dollars are getting turned over in the local economy multiple times. So those people are going out to eat, they're buying groceries, they're buying cars, they're putting gas in the cars. And so it's just a huge economic boom. Cameron Parish is an example. Between ITEPs rolling off sometime in the next 10 years, understand that they've said in the next 10 years, Cameron Parish is going to receive $4 billion with a B in property tax.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Now think about what that does.
Yeah,
I mean, and I don't know how Cameron Parish handles their property tax and what it funds, but you look at up in Richland Parish, they were funding teachers off of sales tax.
Mm-hmm.
You saw that injection up there, and every teacher from Meta up there, and every teacher in Richland Parish got a $50,000 check. Can you imagine what every public service that is funded by property tax is going to see on that end?
Right. Well, they've got a plan for it.
I'm sure.
They've got a plan.
Hey.
So they're going to be doing, coastline protection by putting rocks out there. They're going to maintain the ship channel by rocking the sides of that, so you don't have to continually dredge. They're going to be 4-laning roads that are 2 lanes that should have been 4-lane a few years ago before all this boom started.
Love it. Gotta love it.
But it's a great problem to have.
Yes, it is. It is. Well, I appreciate a couple minutes this afternoon. I use Jim Rock with the Lake Area Industry Alliance. Thank you so much for a couple minutes.
You bet.
Absolutely.
My pleasure.
No, glad to have you on. All right, we're at 4:30 at Talk 4:33 at Talk 107.3 FM. We are broadcasting live from Low Bears Casino in Lake Charles, Louisiana, as we're covering Legisgator 2026. Our coverage is brought to you by the TJC Group, Continuum Strategies, Louisiana Chemistry, the Louisiana Chemistry Association, and Caterus with Commonwealth LNG. Right back after this on Talk 107.3. Oop. Facebook, y'all missed out on it the first time because I wasn't logged on yet, or I thought I'd started live, but I didn't. Oh, this one's way quieter. This is not. Yeah. Yeah, that's this. Ooh, we almost hit the corner. All right. Thank you all. Yeah, come on. Got about 2 minutes left to break.
Okay, you want, sir? Kim Brass. Pleasure. Pleasure to meet you.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm awesome. How are you doing?
I'm great.
So we spoke at Rotary a couple weeks ago. She said we're gonna put y'all together, you and me together, and I'm like,
Yes.
okay, well, it just happened organically. Let's go.
Let's take a
All right. I know. By the way, a good chunk of the first segment of the show was Mary Beth Derrickson from Lobby, just pumping sunshine about you.
Okay.
So
I mean,
That's
it's amazing.
it's different and dear supporter. And a lot.
how we looking, Wilton?
We got 40 seconds of weather right now, and then you're back in.
Okay. You want me to fill? You got anybody to fill your spot tomorrow? I'm gonna try and run down Scott Walker because I didn't have him on the rundown, but apparently, like, that's the man I need to talk to.
The chancellor here is from community college, for parishes, so you may be, you'll need a slot each year.
What?
Oh, when? Yeah.
That's even. Do what?
How many slots do you need to fill?
Just one, a 10-minute segment at 8:05. Yeah, tomorrow morning. Who's your backup?
The conversation continues now. Coverage of Legisgator 2026, live from L'Auberge Lake Charles, is on Talk 107.3.
Scott's gig. Happy to be over here from L'Auberge in Lake Charles, as we have now found a deluge outside. Much needed rain in southwest Louisiana this afternoon. Why am I giving a weather report of Lake Charles when we're on in Baton Rouge? That makes zero sense. Brian Haldane here with you as we're broadcasting from Legisgator 2026, of course, presented by Continuum Strategies, TJC Group, Louisiana Chemistry Association, and Caterus, bringing you Commonwealth LNG. State Representative Ken Brass is with us right now. If you were listening to the first segment of the show, you heard his praises sung very loudly by Mary Beth Derrickson from the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. He's on with us. How are you, sir?
Good evening, sir. Good evening. Good evening. Great to be here.
Glad to have
having
you.
me.
I can't believe you've never been on my show before. It's the
first time, so hopefully it's the first of many. So
let's make it that way for
sure.
sure. Absolutely. Because, it's right down the river, just a little bit. Now, I'm it's 6 to 9 a.m., so it's normally kind of early, but we can make that happen for sure. So workforce, let's talk about workforce development. Let's start with the panel you were on yesterday.
Actually, I've been fortunate and blessed to be presented with the opportunity on both yesterday and today. So yesterday I was able to participate in the panel by lobby to where I was able to give some interesting updates as far as workforce development within my district.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the great things we did as far as legislation and securing funding for this great state of Louisiana. Today, I was able to moderate a forum where we had individuals from the state of Indiana to hear the great things that they're doing in reference to workforce development. So hopefully we can implement some things that they're doing and had success with here in Louisiana to help continue to move the needle forward to ensuring that our local residents are number one qualified, to expand the workforce pool, and to also ultimately allow our constituents to get these jobs to come to Louisiana.
Okay, what's going on in Indiana that we need to copy?
Workforce development, apprenticeship programs. They actually changed the diploma requirements, ultimately to better position.
When you say workforce development, are we talking like a particular field? Because I know here in Louisiana, what we're looking at, industry wise, but like up in Indiana, what's hot?
It's around the board, healthcare industry.
Okay.
But they're actually changed their diploma to put things or measures in place to where they can position their students to get apprenticeship programs, internships, to where they can be fully prepared from a hands-on perspective once they graduate and cross that stage in May of each year, to where they can get directly into the workforce. So it was a great deal. We developed some great relationships over the last couple of days to where we can collaborate and hopefully do some things here in Louisiana that they're doing or had success with in Indiana.
Now let's run it back to the last legislative session. You did a lot of work on this front, which is why you were on these panels and moderating panels and whatnot. Take us through a little bit of what the last session looked like for you and what you pushed.
So, as you guys know, my workforce is one of my passions. I represent the rural parish, which is St. James, Ascension, St. John, Iberville. And one thing as you know, recently we announced over almost $20 billion worth of investments. So my biggest priority is to ensure that our local residents, vendors, contractors are positioned to where we can participate in that measure. A couple of bills that we did pass, just passed legislation, which in reference to TOPS. After talking with some of our chancellors and RPCC, we found that some of the biggest issues is just funding for our students to get to have these opportunities of training. So we actually revamped TOPS Tech to where it's adding a third eligible requirability as far as criteria. And then the most important part is that part-time students can actually participate in TOPS. Prior to this legislation, only TOPS Tech was pertaining to full-time students. So if the students went from 12 to 9 hours, their TOPS Tech award would not be taken away from them. So I think that's going to be huge, transformational, because as we know, students sometimes have to work.
Well,
Sometimes
yeah.
they have some life issues to where they may not be able to maintain those hours that's needed to be considered a full-time student. But the legislation we passed this past session was in reference to allowing them to be awarded as a part-time student. Secondly, another issue that we're having with having the demand of fulfilling our workforce is that the lack of teachers and instructors.
Okay.
So we created a bill that was passed and signed by the governor that created a fund that the state is going to ultimately fund to where to incentivize a BSF, a Shell, Oxychem, Dow, Exxons, to where they can allow their employees to come back and teach at this community college, whether it's P-Tech, scaffold building, millwright, whatever it be, at no cost to the college, but they can ultimately instruct our students to ultimately where they can get into the workforce at no cost. So this fund will be used to incentivize plants and company and industry to participate in that.
How hard is it to make sure that, like, you're doing a lot of things that are going to make generational change, but we live in a news cycle society? How far is it to keep everybody happy while the plan evolves, while things come to fruition?
It's a happy balance. As I tell all of my colleagues, not to say we need to defund the four-year institution, because we definitely continue to fund that. But
Right.
as you see across the state with over $140 billion with a B investment across the state, that we need to be strategic and intentional with allocating funds and incorporating legislation that ultimately help us to provide a workforce training here technical throughout the state. And that's what we've done this past session. We look to build upon that as we go into 2027.
What are you looking to pull out of Legisgator, aside from your contribution into Legisgator? What are you looking to pull out of it while you're here?
Just continue to build relationships.
Yeah.
I think it's critical as a legislator to develop relationships not only with my colleagues, the government administration, but also with the different industries.
Yeah.
Just would like to personally and publicly thank all of our industry. Just to give an example, Exxon just recently did a collaboration with Southern University to where they sponsored a STEM program during the summer. And I think programs like that allow us to, number one, industry to get involved in the community, but most importantly, allow our students to get a heads up as far as being able to build their resume. So once they do graduate, they can have hands-on experience.
Yeah, the work that Exxon does in Baton Rouge has been a part of the community of Baton Rouge for 115 years. And they don't stop, man. They make sure they stay embedded within the community as part of the community. It's really, really amazing stuff. Hey, getting your forecast on for next year. Do you have early plans, early ideas for what kind of legislation you want to see come?
Well, one motto we have in the rural parish of my district is, I like to always say, it's from cradle to career. When I say cradle, it's mean once a infant comes from the mom, that we be strategic and intentional with investing in that particular child. So I just love the relationship that we build in with our industry to invest in early childhood from K through 12, all the way up to the higher education, to where we can ultimately ensure that our Louisiana residents stay here in Louisiana and being able to work, live, and raise a family. One issue that I am working with is that I think we have a gap to where our 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade students can ultimately have internship opportunities.
Yeah.
Was it industrial or healthcare or maritime, on the river, is that I think we need to be strategic and intentional again as far as providing opportunities for our high school students to get hands-on experience, hands-on internships, to where they can continue to build relationships and resumes to once they do graduate. One issue that's kind of a detour or hindering that is that from an insurance perspective or a liability of the employee. But just talking with some of the folks with Indiana, they've created and adopted a good model that I think we're going to try to pass some legislation to get to where internship could become more readily available for our high school students.
Very good. Oh, and we see it in some of the major cities, like New Orleans and Baton Rouge. You'll find individual programs like that, but brought it out statewide, where you don't have any school in particular where there would be lacking. And meanwhile, greatly appreciate you stopping by for a couple minutes this afternoon.
Thank you.
He is State Representative. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, we're coming up on our next break. We are broadcasting live from Legisgator 2026. Our coverage brought to you by the Louisiana Chemistry Association, brought to you by Cateris at Commonwealth LNG, of course, the TJC Group, and Continuum Strategies, bringing you this coverage this afternoon and tomorrow morning. So, quick break, coming back next on Talk 107.3 FM.
All right, I'm taking the break because you told me to, but we really are like a minute and a half, almost 2 minutes early. All right, 10 seconds.
Now back to Lobert, Lake Charles. Coverage of Legisgator 2026 is on Talk 107.3.
What happened? We gave us such a volume. There we go. Sorry, the first hour. We're going to have one more hour to go here. I was kind of hoping. I know David St. Romain is lurking somewhere around here. He's supposed to pop in with me at some point. I'm hoping he'll be here to close out the show. You're going to be here for 5:45. All right. Just double checking on that. So here's the long and the short of it is that as we continue along, next hour we're going to talk with Adam Knapp from Leaders for a Better Louisiana. They had the run of things today, a number of different seminars, breakouts, panels, things to learn, things to collaborate on. Next hour we're going to talk with Lana Venable from Continuum Strategies as she is really dove into the forefront, not just with putting her company's name on this coverage, but the space that we're in right now and the space that we're moving to, the future is very, very bright on this front. Also next hour, double check here. Also next hour, we got Tim Johnson, who also put his name on this coverage. Tim has been in the space for some time now. Y'all know the Business and Industry podcast that Tim and Gordy Rush do together. Well, he's going to hop on board to talk a little bit about not just his Legisgator experience, but within the industrial world as well. So we got a lot more to cover before we're all done. And okay. A lot more to cover before we're all done. Just to give you like the zoom out view once again, is that when this whole thing came together, when Legislator Legisgator came together, and they decided to make this, they keep calling it a 2.5 day conference. It's a 3 day conference. The last half of the last day is basically just driving back to your home base. They'll be out by 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, and if I'm being honest, they'll be in the parking lot until about 1:45. So it's tomorrow's events, tomorrow's festivities are a lot more about the celebration of that which has already happened. So yesterday's stuff was all about Lobby presenting their ideas. Today's stuff was all about Leaders for a Better Louisiana presenting their ideas. Tomorrow is about the folks from Southwest Louisiana and their Economic Development Alliance and their Industry Alliance, and the folks from Southwest Louisiana bringing in legislators from around the state saying, hey, good job on the last legislative session. Here's where we need to be on the next one. Tomorrow will include one of the best networking sessions I've seen. As it's in between, they do a breakfast, then they do the networking, and then they do the big luncheon. In between that breakfast and lunch is this networking session that has you turn from one side and you've got business, you turn to the other side, you've got legislative, you turn to another side, and you've got those who are advocates for one or the other, or advocates against. Either way, there's just so much collaboration that goes along with it. So very, very much looking forward to that tomorrow morning. Right after my show's over, that's when that all starts. So we'll be doing that tomorrow after our broadcast. Want to remind you though. Well, let me go back to one more thing here, real quick. Is that when you see tomorrow's coverage, what we're going to be doing here is to go along with what's on the big luncheon that I keep talking about. That's our entire delegation. Like just about all of our Washington delegation will be in the House. Whether you talk about Senator Kennedy, Senator Cassidy, whether you talk about any of our 6 congressmen and women. When you're talking about the governor, the lieutenant governor, there's just a whole bunch of people will be converging on the stage tomorrow, given their 2 cents on the state of things in Louisiana. After the luncheon's over with, that's pretty much it. But the stuff that happens in between the meetings is what makes something like this have the potential to be great. A lot of folks have been saying from the outset, from the announcement that this is what Legisgator was going to be, a lot of folks have been saying this is going to be like Washington Mardi Gras, but in Lake Charles, or just on a smaller scale. And I can tell you from the time I walked in the door today, it has been that. It has been a whole lot of 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, meeting with one person, meeting with the next person. It's been a lot of seeing someone that you haven't seen who's from a different part of the state who, oh, hey, they've converged on this because it's a thing. Well, now that we're here, let's get together and make it something that's actually productive. It's something I don't think you get from every state in the nation. It's something that only us in Louisiana do on a regular basis. Without having to be told, without having to be asked. When we get together, we collaborate. It's just give us an excuse to party and we make business happen out of it, as opposed to the other way around. So all good things on that front. Couple of notes while I have a minute here, just kind of teeing up next week. I'm sure you've heard by now. It was in our news from Louisiana Radio Network. I'm sure you've heard by now. There's a big press conference scheduled in Abbeville on Tuesday, where everyone is expecting this to be the Elon Musk press conference. Everyone's expecting this to be SpaceX is coming to Louisiana to build a spaceport. That is, I'm not doing anything groundbreaking. I'm not breaking news right now. Like literally every news outlet out there has been talking about this for the last few days. That's expected on Tuesday. I want to tell you Wednesday on my show, Susan Bourgeois, head of economic development, is going to join us. So I cannot wait. I cannot wait for that. That's going to be a fantastic conversation because number one, we keep that tally going of how many economic development wins we've seen in the last 2 years now. Not just that, but it's like, where do we go from here? That's the big question. Where do we go from here on the economic development front? Are we staying in this lane? Are we picking up new lanes? And when you look at the last few years, I don't know that we have a quote unquote lane. I mean, sure, we talk industry a whole lot because you got Hyundai Steel building out in Ascension Parish. You got CF Industries moving. We talk about LNG over here in Lake Charles with the good folks at Commonwealth and everybody else who's building out as well. Then up in Northeast Louisiana with Meta, and now in the dead south of Vermilion Parish, but down by Pecan Island. Now you're talking about SpaceX or a spaceport. What is our quote unquote lane? I don't know that we have one. And is that a help or a hindrance is the follow-up question to that. Because if we did have one lane, wouldn't we max out within it? But as we're hitting on a number of different fronts, we don't have a max on any of them right now, so we still have capacity for more. It's just a lot of very cool stuff that's going on. Give me one more second, sorry. Okay. Yeah, we're going to be all set. All right, we had, like I said, news coming up in just a little bit. The show tomorrow morning, I have pretty much a rough rundown for you here. Desiree Lemoyne with Industry Makes. Industry Makes a great sponsor of my show on a day-to-day basis. Desiree is going to join us in the 7 o'clock hour. Oop, I forgot to mix those up. Desiree is going to join us in the 7 o'clock hour at 7:15. She's going to be on. Let me back up to the 6 o'clock hour. Dixon McMakin, State Representative Dixon McMakin, going to join us at 6:35 to talk about not just where we're at here in industry, but to kind of bring it back home a little bit as well. Saw his name in a couple of headlines throughout the day today. So we'll start off our guest list tomorrow with Dixon at 6:35, Desiree Lemoyne at 7:15, Tim Johnson. No, I'm sorry, not Tim Johnson. A couple of folks from Tim's office are going to be on at 7:35. Then in the 8 o'clock hour, we're going to have Anna Johnson at 8:15. She's with the governor's office of conservation and energy. And then David Cresson from the Louisiana Chemistry Association before we're all said and done. So very much. Oh, we got a positive one? Okay, fantastic. Coming in as we speak. Tomorrow at 8:05, Scott Walker, who kind of put this whole thing together, is going to join us. So we are set, y'all. We got a show for tomorrow, and we are ready for it. Okay, I don't have time for that right now. All right, we will. I'm keeping one eye on the clock, and I know we want to get out right on time so we can meet up with news at the top of the hour, which is kind of coming up on us. So, tell you what, we're going to go ahead and break it right here. You're going to hear ABC News. We'll kind of another hour of the show. It's going to be Jaden o'clock here in just about a minute and a half. So, we will pick it up 1 more hour to go from this evening broadcast from Legisgator, which, of course, once again, are great sponsors of Continuum Strategies, the TJC Group, Caterus and Commonwealth LNG, and of course the Louisiana Chemistry Association. That continue next. Yeah, if he's not here, we can flip for sure. I'm sure he'll be able to. Oh, I'm so glad I didn't have to drive in the rain, as hot as it was. That's all right. All right, how are you? Newbie. Hey, right.
I'm sorry.
So for Mondays, I've been called away because potentially testify on behalf of the advocate and their objection short.
Oh, okay. I think Francis told me for jury selection.
One of them,
So,
yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
that's fun.
Yeah, he sued me personally. He dropped the suit because he decided to get rid of fish. He dropped me for money. Never spoke to you.
What was it about?
Whether it an advocate published it in 2019 and referenced an investigation that the advocate referenced in their expose, which is the basis of this lawsuit. And he claimed that I'd be defamation, whatever.
How far did it take it before dropping it? I mean, did you have to?
Well, thankfully, I had a good attorney that just, I pay a small retainer. He's like, no, he's like, I would do this for I could, but we need to have payments for real. So, yeah. Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
He's something. I don't know, he's a little. Yeah. So I definitely don't want to talk specifically like about law or about like just
No.
continuum, and
Yeah.
I can make some references to the kinds of things. And oh, look at your little giveaways. Is this a typical? Oh, I'm taking one of these. I want to give this nice gentleman.
I don't know. Oh. So I feel like I can't even do a good show because just this, I mean, so many different directions. You know?
And I mean, you didn't even know. You've been on the road.
About 30 seconds left.
Yeah.
But
Oh.
after this, do you chill for a little bit?
So yeah, I'll drive home tomorrow afternoon or early evening, whatever. But like, no, it's back to the normal routine for next week. You know, the kids in carpool and all that. So,
That,
yep,
at least, yeah, I'm something out of my draft and it looks like it's slack.
it should. Yeah. So, and on top of everything else, like this could not have been more ill-timed. But walking all over New Orleans yesterday in, I'm not a man trying to complain about uncomfortable shoes, but like a brand new pair of shoes that I had never worn before. And we had an event like, you know, we're on Canal Street, that I had to go up Canal from the JW Marriott over to the Hilton and then back to the JW Marriott. And then we had an event over at the Royal Sonesta. And you don't think about it at the time. I'm very prone to Charlie horses. So 3 o'clock this morning, and when I'm on the road, I get to sleep until 4 because, you know, show prep's different. But like 3 o'clock this morning, ridiculous Charlie horse.
That was a bad cue. You got till
My
06.
calf looked like an alien coming up. You what? Oh, I know. Yeah. So last year I moved myself into the middle so you could see the backdrop the whole morning.
Yeah.
But this right here is a big step and repeat for Commonwealth and Cataris. That, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been really good though. I mean, it's, you know, when you think about it, there's really no other gathering like this that is more than a morning meeting and luncheon. Like, you know, you have PAR and cable or Better Louisiana and lobbying, but
Right.
this is really, and it's in another part of the state, which is really cool.
Yes.
It's nice to see that.
Yeah, a part of the state that we don't see every day, and a part of the state that's winning.
That's right. Definitely. And not Baton Rouge, not New Orleans. And I'm so sad I missed LMA.
Oh, it was well. Okay, so
Interviews were great.
I'm in love with Friday Ellis.
I know,
He's
I finally met him today. Yeah, he's great. He's great.
so
I told him, you know, that we needed him to be a very strong statewide economic development messenger, which he already is, but
yes.
I want to put him on tour.
Yeah, he's like bragging on. He finds the most obscure things to brag on Monroe about. Like, you know, not many people know that like the drummer from the Dave Clark Five was from Monroe. Like, and that's I'm making that one up. I don't know, but like he'd have some like obscure random backup singer for a Motown band. Come on over. Yeah. Are we up?
No, this break's like longer than the last one.
Okay. Oh, let's see here. Yep.
Test.
Yep, you should be good. And you're barely on camera. Scooch my way just a little bit.
What you got up there?
Do what?
Official U.S. time.
Yeah. I want to stay on time, and my time and this time in the studio are the exact same. So I don't miss breaks by.
Yeah, I still don't know how you do this without a producer here. It's kind of amazing to me.
It's funny when I was packing up in New Orleans this morning, Newell Norman was doing his show from the same table that I was at.
Oh, wow.
So he had one guy setting up lights, one guy setting up audio equipment. And I'm like, guys, I'm moving as fast as I can.
One man band over here, but you do a great job, Brian.
Thank you.
And I can't believe that Ken has not been on before. Representative Brass,
Me neither.
great.
I know he is.
We're very fortunate to have him, and he's such a great workforce advocate.
Yeah. And he's from, inside where it's all at. If anyone was gonna have a problem with it, it would be him.
Right, and he works in industry, so he sees it firsthand.
Right.
He's great. Been fortunate to work with him on several things over the years, and he's just definitely a good one.
This is crazy. This is a incredibly long break. We're 8 minutes into the hour right now. That shouldn't happen.
Hello, Facebook Live.
Yeah.
We're on a long break. And at least it has stopped raining.
Oh, well, that's good. That's probably knocked the temperature down a good bit too.
I certainly hope so.
It was crazy over the weekend. Last weekend, like the second we touch 100 degrees, the skies would just open up and knock it down to 75.
It's so ridiculous. It's like we can't function. That's not sustainable. It's too hot.
I know. But like you knock it down to 75 and it's awesome for about half an hour,
Right.
and then the steam.
And then, yep, here we go again. Yeah,
The conversation continues now. Coverage of Legisgator 2026, live from L'Auberge Lake Charles, is on Talk 107.3.
Yeah, we're rolling right along from L'Auberge and Lake Charles as this is Legisgator 2026. Like we said, our coverage is brought to you by Caterus, Commonwealth LNG. That would be Louisiana Chemistry Association hopping on board today, the TJC Group hopping on board, and Continuum Strategies, which is where we're at right now. Lana Venables with us. How are you?
Hey, Brian, I'm great. How are you?
I'm
great
doing
to be with you.
No, it's glad to have you on here because I think this is the perfect conference for y'all to hop on board with, because there's so much new coming out with Legisgator. There's so many new ideas that are going to come from yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And it's y'all have thrown your hat in the ring and said, we want to sponsor the show, sponsor the coverage, because this is going to be an ongoing thing and a productive thing.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad it worked out that we could do this because, you and I work together very well behind the scenes.
Yes.
And, as we were talking, I thought, maybe it is time to kind of bring Continuum Strategies, our little firm, out into the light and talk a little bit about what we do and how exciting it is to be here for these multiple days now of Legisgator and related events with Lobby. And with For a Better Louisiana. And it's been amazing to see the number of people that have come together, leaders from all over the state, from all professions, different aspects of representing so many of the things that are going on in Louisiana. And if we found out one thing over these past couple of days, it's that there's no shortage of good things happening in Louisiana, and there's so many more just waiting in the wings.
Yeah.
So it's exciting.
Yeah, we were talking to Ken Brass about workforce development. That alone, when Mary Beth from Lobby was over here talking about how our workforce participation rate is increasing, like that in and of itself is a huge. We're taking somebody who had no purpose, no job, no reason to be off of the sofa, and like all of a sudden, oh wait, I'm back in the game. That's a life change. That's a family tree change. It's not about jobs and it's not about money. It's about like changing the lives of the folks that live in Louisiana.
Right. It's about hope and it's about purpose.
Yes.
And it's about showing, all Louisianans that they can be successful, that there is a pathway for them. And that's not really a message that's always been loud and clear, unfortunately. But with these opportunities, there's no better time than now to really start to look at all the potential that these new jobs and these new investments are going to bring. And as we heard over these past couple of days, there will be no shortage of needs in all across the workforce.
Yeah.
So our secondary education systems, from our LCTCS, community colleges, and trade schools like here in Sewella, for Lake Charles, for example, all the way to our four-year universities and beyond, there is going to be so much need and so much opportunity. And it's really an exciting time to be here. And having worked on workforce development in the past and having an industrial background and economic development background, it's really exciting to see all this come together now and just to see so much hope and so much opportunity for Louisiana. It really is unprecedented.
Yeah, it's very, very cool stuff. Okay. let's talk about Continuum Strategies. What is Continuum Strategies?
Okay, let's. So Continuum Strategies is a boutique public affairs consulting firm that I started back in 2018. So we're getting close to a decade here, based on the experience that I've had throughout my career. I don't really want to say how long I've been doing this kind of work, but it's been about 30 years. So I felt like it was time. I saw a lot of opportunities and a lot of things that I felt like we could leverage in bringing people together, connecting resources, and really moving people and projects and opportunity forward. And so that's what the goal of this firm has been. And we've started off small. I have some industrial clients. I have some just strictly policy related clients. But it's really interesting to be a part of helping to shape the narrative and define the narrative. Now, when I first started in this business, Brian, I already told you how long ago, but things looked a lot different, and I know you're aware of that too. But, when I first started, we were faxing press releases and we were calling newsrooms, and all that has changed. So now, the news is instantaneous. Journalism has changed. Unfortunately, we've lost a lot of true journalism around the country and around the world. And it's impacted our newsrooms, and that's unfortunate. But what it's also led to is this big opening for everyone to be a journalist. I usually have my phone right next to me, but everyone is a journalist now.
Yeah.
Everyone's a citizen journalist. If you have a smartphone or you have a computer, congratulations, you're a reporter. You're able to report news on the spot, immediately in the middle of the action. And the unfortunate thing is there's no fact checking. There's no, it doesn't go through anyone else. It just goes straight into the ether.
Right.
And it's presumed to be fact when that's not necessarily the case. So those of us that have been involved in crafting messages and getting information, credible information out to everyone from decision makers and opinion leaders to the general public, it's changed the game. And so we realize now that if you think you're ahead of an issue or an opportunity or a challenge, you're probably not. So we realize now that, there would have been a time that when an economic development project, let's say, looked like it was moving forward pretty well. Well, you wouldn't go into a community and talk about that project and talk about all the benefits, the jobs, the opportunities, those indirect impacts that you just talked about with Jim Rock here a few minutes ago. But you wouldn't talk about that because you weren't there yet, and you didn't you wanted to manage expectations with that community. Well, today, unfortunately, that's not the case, because while we're wanting to manage expectations over here, there are other entities that are getting out kind of ahead of you and owning your message. And that's the last thing that we want to do. So it's challenging. It's kind of new territory. I say a lot, in a lot of ways, it feels like we're operating in the wild, wild west, because the game has changed and it continues to change. But it's really that ability to, just to get in there, to have the right conversations, and a lot of times I feel like people will walk into a situation and, or a company, and they'll say, okay, these are all the things. These are our talking points. These are our messages. This is our PowerPoint. This is what we want to walk in and tell this community. Well, unfortunately, on the flip side, there's so much to be gained from considering the audience, and instead, like turning that on its head and saying instead, what do these people need to hear from me? What is it that will make them feel comfortable with me, feel like they know me, and then can trust me? Because if you don't have that foundation first, you really lose a lot of opportunities. So it's about moving people. It's about gaining trust, and it's about getting the right information out in a way that you're able to keep up with the speed of business today and the speed of the citizen journalist.
So this is one of the things we were talking about earlier when Mary Beth was in here, was like the messaging part of this is so lacking. And it's just, and it's not nobody's fault, because it's just that's the way business used to be done was, oh, just let it pass. The news cycle will end. Just let it pass. Well, the news cycle has to contend with now, like you said, non-sourced, non-vetted information. Anything who's, you have to fight Reddit, for crying out loud. Like anytime anybody posts anything, now that post, true or not, becomes a news item because, some unnamed user on Twitter has said this. So now we have to say it's not news in terms of like if someone says, and I'm trying not to get too specific about one thing, but anything that is said, the fact that it's said makes it opinion, and it's the everyman, it's a man on the street opinion, and now that has to be validated within the news. So now you have to fight that validation that the news has already given it, when the news didn't do anything that was not true, but it's very misleading. So it's like when they say numerous people showed up to protest. Well, 4 is numerous.
Right.
So anything that is a number is numerous by definition. So when you see numerous people showed up to protest, you don't know what that means. When you see a picture of 4 people wearing matching T-shirts on the steps of the state capitol, that was not a good day for them.
Right. And
but the perception at 10 p.m. is.
Right. And it all comes about through the lens through which it's viewed,
Right.
or the way that it is portrayed, exactly like what you just said. And once it's out there, it's really hard to unring that bell.
Right.
And it's really hard we talk a lot at our firm about how we want to enter a community.
Mhm.
How do we want that community to how do we want to meet them? We want to meet them where they are. We want them to know our values, our intentions. We want to build that relationship. We don't want to come into a community and do things for them. We
Right.
certainly don't want to come in and do things to them. But really, we want to, the ideal is we want to go into a community and do things with them.
Right.
In collaboration that they believe and the company or the organization believes will be the best use of resources to improve that community, to build its capacity, and all the while, of course, educating on the issues and the opportunities and all those things. But too often, now we see that the tail is wagging the dog.
Yep.
And with a lot of these projects that we have discussed, we talk a lot about things like carbon capture, sequestration, data centers, all these things. But with the example of carbon capture, sequestration, or CCS, we know that many of the projects we have heard discussed here,
Mhm.
that we continue to hear about, are all connected to that technology, to that CCS.
Right.
And it's a part of business competitiveness. It is a part of being able to manage a supply chain domestically versus internationally, and then that gives our producers, our folks here in Louisiana, an edge over people that are doing trying to do the same kinds of things in other countries, in other places. So we really have an opportunity, instead of standing around and fighting with each other. We should be looking at our opportunities and instead looking without and saying, who is threatening our opportunities here in the United States domestically to develop these chains and to limit or eliminate, hopefully, ultimately, our reliance on other countries. And that's really what part of this is. It's national security. It's more than just, I don't want somebody to come in and take my property, which, by the way, is absolutely not how that works. That's not.
No, I know. It's,
And just how much these things have just gotten blown up and taken completely out of context and way out of proportion. It does get frustrating, but that's why, we believe that our firm and the things that the skill sets and the experience that we bring to the table, we hope we're able to step back and strategically look at how to better tell that story, how to better enter that community, and how to engage with the people there. And there's no magic bullet. There's no easy answer. It just takes continued engagement, relationship development. And we think we're pretty good at that. And we hope to continue to work in this space.
you mentioned how it used to be the competition or the opposition would come from the outside. Now it comes from the inside. But does it? How many times how many times are you seeing where the alleged opposition from the inside is actually funded by the outside?
Right. And I guess what I was speaking to is more like we're fighting with ourselves, and we're not looking at other states or even other countries that are rolling out the red carpet for these opportunities that, companies are trying to bring to Louisiana. And those are the groups that you're talking about that are just saying, I don't want this. I don't want that. What about this? What about that? I genuinely believe, and I am from a small town. I am from a very, very rural parish. And so I get that. And I understand. I believe that the root of all this truly is fear. It is fear of the unknown.
Absolutely. And there is no better driver. There is no better motivator than fear.
Right. And so that's where the coming in, being able to, we don't necessarily have to get super technical with these things, but we just need to understand what is it that people really want to know about, and be transparent
and timely and give them that information, and then continue to communicate and continue to work with them. So again, no magic bullet, but it's just a good old fashioned process of community engagement in an ever changing world, and in completely different ways that we've done it in the past.
All right, we spent way too much time on the PR into this. We didn't even
Sorry.
we haven't even talked policy yet, and we're kind
I
of
imagine the
right.
two of us talking.
No,
too
right?
much, right?
So, okay, I'll tell you what. Let's talk policy for just a minute. Then we'll take a
Sure.
quick break. Okay.
Sure.
From the policy standpoint, continuum strategies, implementation of policy, or moving from idea to legislative paper. Like, how do y'all play the role?
Well, one of the things that I think we're really good at, or that we strive to do, is really looking at opportunities, and that is engaging with policymakers, be it at the local level, the legislative level, issue experts, subject matter experts, that relate back to policies that organizations or clients that we work with want to affect change around.
Mhm.
And so, for example, media advocacy, you and I have worked getting specific legislators to come on and talk about key issues.
Yep.
When there are timely things that are in the news, whether they are happening at the local level, state level, national level, we'll try to flag those and find our local legislators, local opinion leaders who can speak to that from a policy perspective, and how a lot of times it's changes that other states are making in terms of policy that improve their state, that improve their overall economic output, and basically keep dollars in the pockets of their residents. Sure. And so when we tend to look at that, again, a lot of times we're just looking at each other in Louisiana, but when we look at these other states and see what they're doing, there's sort of like a, hey, maybe we should do that. Or if they did this, then maybe we can talk to them. And so it's really a lot of people moving, idea sharing, and it's really just, have working with folks like you that give us the opportunity to share that information and share that message, because there's so much noise right now, going
Right.
back to all these groups and all the social media outlets that exist everywhere. There is so much noise. It is really, really hard to cut through that noise. And so again, finding the right vehicle, the trusted vehicle, trusted source for information, and again, trying to understand what it is that people really want to know, like what they may be asking, this, and this, but at the bottom of that, like, what is that burning question? What is
Sure.
that burning issue?
Yeah.
Like with a lot of these industrial developments, we talked about, fear of change. There's the double-edged sword of people wanting things in their community, in their area, to get better, because they want to keep their children home. They want to have opportunities. They see, again, rural communities like mine, that really have just been struggling in recent years. And so they see that need for an opportunity and that hope to be able to revitalize that community. But then at the same time, there's also, but we don't want to change,
Right.
and it's that balance between, a lot of it really is good old change management,
Yep.
And relationship architecture, to use a fancy term, but really figuring out, who fits together, what issues, where their commonalities are, and using our friends in the media, using our trusted outlets to get that information out, and then to share it on social media from a recognized source and a reputable source.
Because from commonalities comes consensus.
That's right.
And that's how you move it forward.
And at the end of the day, we have a lot more in common than
Oh, my
things
word.
that set us apart.
Oh, yes. Not to mention
we
a
need
lot
to
more to
remember
gain
that.
than we have to lose.
That's
And
right.
That's another big part of the equation as
That's
well.
right.
Thank you so much for sitting down for a couple of minutes this afternoon.
Thank
Lana
you, Brian.
Venable with Continuum Strategies, one of the handful of sponsors we've got here for our coverage of Legisgator, go along with Continuum Strategies. There's a TJC group. We're going to talk with Tim Johnson about just shy of 15 minutes from right now. Of course, the Louisiana Chemistry Association and Caterus and Commonwealth LNG. Quick break. We're coming back next on Talk 107.3.
All right, Brian, can you hear? Yo. Yo.
Now a check on your drive from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center.
Brian, can you hear me?
Crossing bridge east on I-10. If you're traveling from Lafayette to Baton Rouge, heading from Grove State to 1012, add an extra 25.
Brian, you there, boss?
This report is sponsored by ExpressPros.com. If you're working with Misfits, you know nothing moves without companies and skilled people now. And Express Employment Professionals can help you find a contract or full-time work fit at no cost to you. Visit ExpressPros.com. Get some
All right.
good options and get to work.
This report comes to you from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center. It's time to very magic moment. Highlighting the best thing we heard on Talk 107.3 today.
Not running for another term. Mayor came on the show to talk about how he does not have to lead towards another path, but also.
I hate to see what we created fall apart. I want to make sure whoever comes in behind me understands and we have a good transition. And central politics are very ugly. And I don't want to be a part of the ugly anymore. I'm just being such a front-facing, accessible guy.
Hey there, Mr. Tim. This is Wilton. I'm at Talk 107.3. Are you ready to join with Brian in a minute? Yeah, it seems good. Let me see. I'm gonna go ahead and all right. Let me see. All right. Are you still there, Mr. Tim?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Are you still there, Mr. Tim?
I am. Yes, sir. Can you hear me? I can hear you.
All right. Are you still there, sir? Are you still there, sir? Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, yeah, I was just we're still on a break right now. I was just testing that out. All right, nice. Let's see. Just got about 40 seconds of weather right here. I'm just gonna throw you down to where you can hear that, and you'll be able to hear Brian, and he'll cue you. Okay. All right, Brian, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Are we back?
Okay, yeah, you should be able to hear.
Yeah, I got it.
He's hearing
Okay.
Hey, buddy.
right now.
Hey, Tim. All right, are we on yet? How long till we're back?
A couple seconds of weather right now. I'm about to throw on the rejoin.
Okay.
Here we go.
Now back to L'Auberge Lake Charles. Coverage of Legisgator 2026 is on Talk 107.3.
Rocking and rolling here from L'Auberge Casino, Lake Charles. Legisgator 2026, literally a legislator like no other. Hopefully the first of many in this new format. Now it's 2.5 days long. About a half day of travel on the back end, get you home on a Friday evening. We'll be able to bring you this coverage, courtesy of folks at Continuum Strategies, courtesy of folks at the Louisiana Chemistry Association, Caterus Commonwealth LNG, and our next guest from the TJC Group, we've got Mr. Tim Johnson on with us. How are you, Tim?
I'm good, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing very well. My first question for you is, like, why are you not like physically in the building right now? From what I hear, I'm over here by the ballroom, but from what I hear, where the suites are going on right now, it is rocking and rolling, man.
Well, I was there last night for the reception, and I and a couple of members of our team had took a couple of legislators and some other clients, key clients, and our mutual friend, Chancellor Quentin Taylor, out to dinner last night. So I was in Lake Charles until late last night, but had to be back in Baton Rouge today and tonight for some important meetings, and then a couple of important meetings tomorrow morning. So I'm missing the fun. I'm missing the networking, but trying to get some business taken care of.
Understand completely. He never stops. Tim Johnson's our guest from the TJC Group. All right, well then walk me through what you saw yesterday, your experience, your Legisgator experience 2026 from the end where, if you were here yesterday, that was Lobbies Day. So walk me through a little bit about your takeaways.
Well, a lot of really good informational sessions, a variety of those. So you could, for the most part, hear what you wanted to hear, and a lot of good legislators speaking and sharing information. And then, of course, the reception last night looked like a mini Washington Mardi Gras. And I quite frankly think that's where this thing is headed. Right? It's going to be the Louisiana version of Washington Mardi Gras every year, and it keeps getting bigger and better. And we enjoyed our time.
The Washington Mardi Gras end of it, for those that don't go to Washington Mardi Gras, give your 90-second synopsis of why something like Washington Mardi Gras is so valuable, and then in return, why it's valuable to try and duplicate it on our home turf.
Well, Washington Mardi Gras has evolved, and for some time now has been the place once a year where every major business leader in the state and every major elected official in the state converge. And it is 3 or 4 days of great network, great business meetings, great receptions, a lot of fun. But it is also a place where major deals are constructed, and where major corporations who are looking to invest in our state attend and sponsor and are engaged. And it has become, from an economic standpoint, I think, arguably the most important 2 or 3 days in our state every year in terms of the ability to drive new business and drive investment and strengthen our economy.
And to kind of fine-tune policy as well. A lot of good ideas that happened during the legislative session. Those ideas were actually born in a rough draft format back at the Washington Hilton.
You see a lot of that. Yes, sir, you do. And so, and I think that has been so successful that this opportunity to duplicate it with the Legisgator event each year, or at least on a smaller scale. I don't know that Legisgator will ever be as large or as significant as Washington Mardi Gras, but what I saw yesterday and last night, certainly off to a good start.
We got Tim Johnson on with us from the TJC Group. Hey, let's take a quick minute or two, Tim, to talk about the TJC Group. For those that might be unfamiliar with your outfit and what you do, give us the background.
We've been in business for 35 years. I started this firm back in October of 1990, working with some consultants in Baton Rouge and some consultants out of Canada who had this new idea for an industry-based community advisory panel. And I got started in the business. For the first 15 years or so, I did it as a side hustle, but sometime around 2004, 2005, it became apparent to me that I was either going to have to doing consulting work and focus on what was then my full-time job, or leave that full-time job and focus on building my own business. And of course, I made the decision to keep building my own business. So now almost 36 years in business. In fact, October will be 36 years. And Brian, I think if you ask folks who are competitors of ours what they do, they would tell you public affairs, governmental affairs, regulatory affairs, community engagement, communications, all of those sort of PR firmish type things. And we do all of those things, but we position it a little bit differently. What we say is we're in the business of securing, sustaining, and strengthening our clients' public license to operate and everything that means. So if a project is going to come into a community or an existing facility is there, we want to make sure that they enjoy public acceptance, governmental acceptance, regulatory acceptance. And we've developed a process over time to move us toward securing and sustaining of that public license to operate. And we do that by identifying all the critical stakeholders in our community. And then we've got this systematic process that builds knowledge, understanding, trust, and goodwill among those stakeholders. And what we say is knowledge and understanding are the foundation of trust and goodwill, and trust and goodwill are the currency of the public license to operate. That approach to what has been, you know, 100-year-old, 200-year-old profession has certainly resonated in Louisiana. It has resonated with industry, and it's helped our firm grow considerably over the last 5 or 6 years. I'm
hearing something that, and I'm going to make a comparison here for you, Tim. And I know, you know, you're a sports guy as well. But when Lane Kiffin was hired, I heard the word alignment a lot in his opening press conference. Talk about alignment within LSU, not just within the athletic department, but within the president's office and everything. You hear the word alignment. Everything you just spelled out to me sounds like you specialize in alignment.
Yeah, because look, if I am, and one of our great clients, Haldane, who, you know, their team is working with us, doing a fabulous job, really sort of integrating themselves into the community and becoming part of the West Ascension community in a great way. If I'm going to drop this economic engine in that community, then what am I going to do to ensure that the people who live in that community, number one, are protected from a health and an environment standpoint, but number two, have the opportunity to benefit from the economics that are coming there in job opportunities and in vendor and contracting opportunities, local purchasing, local hiring. And so we work on all of those elements, communicating the facts about these projects, what they are and what they aren't, because you know very well that there are a lot of out-of-state, paid, anti-everything organizations that just want to shut down all industry and all development in our state. And so it's important that we help the folks that live in those communities, the grassroots citizens, and you said it, align with what's going on, understand clearly what's going on, and eventually come to trust the people that are doing it.
I don't want to get too derailed here, Tim, and we're going to get back on task in just a minute. But when you mentioned Haldane, I can't help but smile. Just anecdotally, how quickly have they embedded themselves and become Louisianans overnight?
Well, I'm going to just tell you, they have sent a group of very committed, good people to Louisiana from Seoul, South Korea, to help kick this project off. These men and women are smart, but most importantly, I think, Brian, they care about the community where they operate. I'll give you a perfect example. You and I both have met Charles Jang, who is the president of Hyundai Pasco, Louisiana.
Yeah.
He had been here 6 months, and the citizens of Donaldsonville elected him to be their Mardi Gras parade king. Now that just doesn't happen if you're not doing right things in those communities. And June Park, who just works tirelessly to do the right thing and to make sure that we're focused on hiring local. I'll give you an example. Of course, they can't officially break ground until they get their air permit.
Right.
Their air permit hearing is coming up at the beginning of September. But they can go out and do site prep work at their own risk. And so they've been doing that now for the last 3 or 4 months. And there are about 25 or 26 contractors that have been hired to do that work. 70% of the contractors that have been hired to work so far are Louisiana-based contractors. They are serious about sourcing Louisiana, giving Louisiana citizens the opportunity to compete for that work. And then we could spend the whole show talking about the new River Parishes Community College Training Center that's coming up in Donaldsonville and what that will mean for young men and women, and quite frankly, older men and women in Donaldsonville. So the story is so positive.
Yeah.
So there's risk in everything we do, but these guys are focused on managing it, engineering it correctly. This will be one of the cleanest steel mills in the world when it's built, one of the most environmentally friendly. And so I'm real proud to be part of their team. And, you know, if you think about an investment like that, creating 1,300 high-paying direct jobs, and then you can imagine what the spinoff indirect impact from that and benefit will be.
We got just a couple minutes left with Tim Johnson from the TJC Group, one of the sponsors of our Legislator coverage. If I can redirect for just a quick second, Tim, I knew the Haldane marriage was going to be a successful marriage when it was Ascension Parish Day at the Capitol, and your boys were out there just slinging Korean barbecue, making sure everybody was fed, and they couldn't have been more proud. And they were neighbors like instantly, and it was good too. Oh, by the way, they've got some game on the grill.
Well, they are fun people. They are good people. They are people with great integrity. And I can just tell you that I've spent a lot of time with these folks, the entire team.
Yeah.
They are laser focused on making this investment something that the citizens of Ascension Parish, and particularly the citizens of West Ascension Parish, can be very proud of.
Well, and they're ours now. I mean, it is simpatico at this point. Got about a minute left with Tim Johnson. In this last minute, I want to ask you a very open-ended question, okay? Looking at everything going on throughout Louisiana's economy right now, where are we headed?
Well, Brian, we've got an opportunity, and I know we got a minute, so I'm going to be quick here, but I have said for a long, long time that the greatest obstacle our state faces is generational poverty. And what can we do to lift our neighbors out of that cycle of generational poverty? Well, it's economic opportunity, and we've got to provide more of it. I have never witnessed a backlog of projects and potential projects like are coming here. And the diversity of the projects, when we talk about Hyundai Steel, we talk about data centers, we talk about SpaceX, how that could completely transform South Louisiana in a positive way. I've never seen anything like it. We know that there's going to be opposition. We've got to hold these leaders accountable to responsible development and responsible operations.
Of course.
We will, through the regulatory and the community license operate scenario. But I'll tell you, I'm getting toward the end of my career, but I've never been more excited and more energized about what's for our great state.
He is Tim Johnson with the TJC Group. Greatly appreciate you carving out a couple minutes this afternoon.
Thank you, Brian. It's always a pleasure to be with you, my friend.
Likewise. We're coming up. We got one more break on our coverage this afternoon. Now, don't fret. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to be right where I'm at right now, 6 till 9 a.m. We've got a full slate for you, a very powerful show ready to roll from Legislator 2026. Now, before we hit our break, do want to remind you one more time, TJC Group, one of the sponsors for our coverage today, as is Continuum Strategies, as is the Louisiana Chemistry Association. We'll talk to David Kress on tomorrow as part of the coverage, and Commonwealth LNG. That's Caterus' outfit right there. We're due up for a break. When we come back, David St. Remains in the house. We got him on next.
All right, Brian, got about 20 seconds. All right, coming up on it. Here we go.
Well, you'd have been proud of me yesterday because I behaved.
Now back to LeBear St. Charles. Coverage of Legisgator 2026 is on Talk 107.3.
Scooch over, man. We're on Facebook.
All right,
Live, dude.
all right.
Show
Let's
off
do
your
it.
face to the viewer. David St. remains in the house. Our coverage of Legisgator from Low Bears, Legisgator 2026 at Low Bears Casino in Lake Charles. We got
Is
one.
that how it's pronounced? Low Bears?
Low
I always
Bears.
thought it was La Bears.
Oh, I don't know. That's
New Orleans.
I might be
Slidell, whatever,
bettering
where
that
you're
up a little
from,
bit.
yeah.
Slidell.
I don't know. I knew you were
Good
from
Lord,
somewhere
man.
over there.
Just hit the wrong side
I
of
thought
the
you were from
parish.
St. Paul's.
I did.
Is that in North Shore? Or
That's North Shore. Yeah,
Okay.
that's North Shore.
Well,
But
that's
like,
why I got confused.
well, yeah, but like Slidell and Covington, two different worlds, boss.
Okay, anyway,
that's the
keep
wrong side of the parish. What's got you out here, man?
Well, you know, I don't just do music.
I know.
So I have a couple clients that I needed to be here for, and I also wanted to come hang with my friends. I've never been to Legisgator, a lot of Lake Charles experience, but not in this world. And so I was excited to come to Better Louisiana's event today, and I'm a Leadership Louisiana classmate, alumni. So came for that, and then spend the night tonight. And I think I've already been told we're gonna have a sweet party after everybody comes back from their dinners and whatnot. So we'll be over there in the suites. So if you're here and you're listening, or if you find out you want to call your friend that's here, brother, I'll be in the suites. I got my guitar. I don't go anywhere without it. So.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
So
I'm excited.
There's for those that are familiar with Washington Mardi Gras, there's a whole row of hospitality suites at the Washington Hilton, and then on the second floor is another collection of hospitality suites. This is like the junior version, where I understand they're all down one row.
Yeah.
I hadn't
even been down it yet. I couldn't get past the bar. I think I'm running. It felt like I was running for office.
Well,
so that's not happening. Let's say that.
No. But it's cool though, because you see, this is where the back and forth in the hallway happens. This is where the magic happens, where people say, we got to get together.
Two things already happened for me today.
Oh,
I mean, it's like, one of the state reps asked me, to help her with something. And, you just try to, really the work happens in the the community moment when you're talking and you're visiting and you're just getting to know each other, and everybody's open. So everybody wants to visit. They want to know what you're doing. And so, it's really exciting. I think I think more people need to participate in things like this. This is an opportunity that goes beyond just the normal four walls. You've been talking to all these really smart people today and tomorrow, and you mentioned Cresson and you mentioned other folks, but I mean, I come from a different world. We come from music, and most people think of us, we're just in a band. Oh, well, that's not something that you would think of from policy or from legislation standpoint.
Why not? It's not unique. It's happened before,
and that's why not? But we don't have a whole lot, and so I think when I have a foot that I'd like to fill there, a shoe I'd like to fill there, and but also working on other community projects. A nonprofit, Songs of Survivors, is doing incredible. We had a workshop today, and yesterday in Jennings, and it was the first workshop that I didn't facilitate. And so I had a new facilitator, and which was a huge moment for me and for the organization in growth. And so we got a lot of stuff coming up.
But now we got to push pause though, because it's the afternoon, it's the evening, it's a different audience.
Right.
I'm not normally on at this time. For those that are unfamiliar with Songs of Survivors, give us the 60 seconds.
So we do songwriting workshops with military veterans across Louisiana in 6-hour. Or with the older population, meaning in the nursing homes, we do 2 days of 2 hours with them. They share their life stories. We track it in a way, and then I write a song, or our facilitators write a song with them in that moment, and then we go back, produce it, and record it, and give it back to them as a gift, as a legacy, something to carry on in their life and turn their story into a more positive outcome. And some of the stories are really tough, and so there's a lot of trauma, military trauma. There's a lot of childhood, sometimes physical, sexual trauma. There's all these things that come out, and it's kind of a mini. If you've ever been to a group at church where you share together, it's kind of that peer-to-peer support model.
Right.
And so we created it 6 years ago. We've served well over 200 veterans. Well over 300 veterans, and we're going to serve about 150 to 200 veterans by the end of this year alone.
Incredible.
So I have 450 roughly served over the course of 6 years.
And by the way, I've heard a few of the songs. They're actually good. They're really good.
Well, thank you.
That's what I mean. I'm not saying like they're actually good. I mean, like, no, this is not
Yeah,
just
it doesn't-
piecemeal. It's because
Right.
when you first tell a story, it sounds like it'd be kind of all over the place. But the way it comes together it's a beautiful thing for a beautiful piece of music. And the fact that they get to take that home and know that they were a part of it,
Yeah.
a part of something so like
When they never experienced, most of
Right.
them have never written a song.
Right.
Or done a co-writing session.
Mhm.
And so there is a songwriting exercise that happens with it where I'm asking them for ideas. We have a hook. What happens is they all talk about their stories and then we find that unified message. There's a unified message. Maybe it's, they all left home to get away from poverty, or they all, and it's different with our different generations of military veterans. Sometimes our World War II veterans are very proud.
Yeah.
Vietnam, they got spit on when they came home. So there was a lot of, there's still a lot of gratitude that's not been given to them,
Right.
that they still need to get.
Yeah.
Iraq, a lot of them feel forgotten, like it wasn't a real war in some cases. They,
Interesting.
and they were there, especially around the COVID era with Afghanistan and that time frame. That when COVID happened and those guys were returning, those veteran active duty soldiers,
Coming
whatever,
back from
they were
Afghanistan,
coming
yeah.
back and they were coming back during COVID time. It was really hard for the military to do that demobilization process with
Right.
them and get all that sort of psychiatric evaluations and all that stuff. I've heard some of this. Of course, I don't want to knock the military because they are trying to do their best they can.
Oh no,
I mean,
absolutely.
and I know for a fact because I have family who helps to run the National Guard here in Louisiana, and so he's doing everything he can, and they've really extrapolated their resources to everything they can.
Yeah.
But there needs to be more modules. There needs to be more opportunity for modalities, that ways that we can reach veterans. And so Songs of Survivors is one of those. It's a unique modality and a unique thing that we can offer veterans as a way for them to help heal.
How important was it to you to not facilitate? Yeah, because this is your mission. Like,
Yeah,
this
man,
is your
it's my
mission.
baby.
It's tough to let your baby go, but at the same time, though, the moment that you don't have to facilitate it, your baby can live forever.
He did an incredible job.
Awesome.
I got a call, just got off the call with my admin director who was there with him, who co-writes and does the tracking of everything, what they're talking about and stuff. And she said he was absolutely incredible. Now, of course, there's an onboarding process. He comes and does
1,000%. You don't want quality to drop.
Right. So he does a couple with me, and then I let him release him to the world and let him go fly. And he did a great job. Mike Dean is his name. He's out of Lafayette. He's a great songwriter. I already knew that part. We wrote a song years ago. He's got albums and also military veteran. And so so we're really trying to find more facilitators that are military veterans, that are songwriters. And yeah, I mean, there's more to it than just being a songwriter. You also have to be very empathetic and have the ability to receive that kind of information and help to guide them through that
Well,
process.
I mean, some of the empathy can be built in with having the shared experience of being a veteran.
Absolutely.
Some of it, yes, but it's the ability to listen. I think is probably the biggest one right there. I mean, the songwriting part of that, you don't want to underscore that. You don't want to underplay that. But it's if you're truly listening to what the veterans have to say, then you have to listen for them to be heard.
Right. And and like I said, we have a partnership, like two of us there. So it's helpful because she's a New York Times bestselling author.
Oh,
our admin director, Susan Mustafa.
Mhm.
And so we've really been able to create, I think, a program that has been nothing but successful and across the state with rehabilitation clinics, drug and alcohol addicts that are just coming off of alcohol and drugs within like a week, 2 weeks. And and you got to know how to handle those moments. And so we've worked directly at the VA in all 3 hospitals, New Orleans, Alexandria, and Overton Brooks up in Shreveport. We've worked in all 5 LDVA homes. We've worked in multiple rehabilitation clinics across the state, and it's just continuing to grow. And at this point, how did it feel? So when I woke up yesterday, because they started yesterday, and today was the finishing because it was the nursing home in Jennings. And I woke up yesterday, was driving, getting on the interstate at Piku, and I was thinking to myself, you're just gonna have to let him figure it out. If he either got it or he doesn't. And what's the worst that can happen? What's the worst that can happen? He's not gonna say anything because I know he's a good guy. So he's not gonna be like, say anything negative to them. But as far as like, maybe we don't get a full song written, maybe they only write a chorus. Well, we can finish it later, or whatever. We learn from those things, and we're a young nonprofit, but we're doing really great things, and the growth has been amazing, and not just from a deliverable, but also from a resource standpoint. State stepped up, appropriated some dollars for us. I mean, but that's taken some of this work that I'm doing here,
Right.
and it's creating those relationships with those folks that have that access.
We got 1 minute to go. David St. Remain's hanging out with us for this last segment of our Legislator coverage on a Thursday evening. We'll be back at it tomorrow morning as well. Within this last minute, give me your 30-second recap of what your Legislator experience has been.
So I got here this morning at 10 a.m. I was a little late getting in. I walked in, and it was easy to walk in and feel exactly what you were talking about DC Mardi Gras. You walk in and you just feel like everybody's your friend. Everyone was super kind. Being an alumni with Leadership Louisiana, they're the hosting, the organization, the association organization. So it was amazing, and I would recommend anyone in our state who's a business leader, who wants to be a business leader, this is where to be.
It absolutely is, and it's only going to grow from here.
Yeah, I told Barry that earlier.
It's so
really proud of these guys.
Same.
Yeah,
same. It's
Thanks
awesome
for being
stuff.
here, Brian.
No, I love to shine a light on something like this, because you don't know what's coming from it, but something positive is coming from it, and we need more of that.
Yeah,
we're starting to see momentum from it. So
yeah,
keep the ball rolling. All right, that's going to do it for today. Shout out to Continuum Strategies, TJC Group, Louisiana Chemistry Association, and Caterus and Commonwealth LNG. We'll see you tomorrow morning. All right, Wilton, we out.